Welcome to day 102. Nobody seemed to care that we sleep here, so I assume we should start sleeping in the middle of the road. I like the way Jack holds on the sticks with his paws, like they're kind of hands that just don't work very well. It's very cute. Värnamo is about 18 miles away, so we should be able to hit that today, especially since there's nothing in between. So we'll go fast because there'll be nothing really to distract us. There is one small little grouping of houses called Klevschult. Other than that, our plan today is just to stride it out. Very good content. You are in for a treat. The only thing that Wikipedia says about this town, and really the only thing that needs to be said about this town, if we're being honest, is that in 2010, nearly 15 years ago, the population was 264. And that one single fact really helps me understand the spirit, the soul, the history, and sort of the culture of this town. Taking a break. Jack. This restaurant specifically told me I can bring my dog in if I want, which was nice. And they're the only restaurant I've found so far that has a free refill system for soda. So I can get my big fat American belly back, finally. These are bad plants here in Scandinavia. They take over native plants. They're hard to kill, they spread fast, and if they weren't so darn pretty, well, I don't know what would happen, but they are pretty despite being so bad for the environment. But now we must depart Klevshult with great sadness, and with no actual great sadness, because as nice a town as it is, we didn't have any formative memories here, really. I know it's windy, I'm sorry, but welcome to Värnamo. I really wanted you to feel welcome as we came here. We've entered the borders of the municipality, but the town itself, like where you'll start to see houses and shops and stuff, is still 10 miles away. Look at that. Look at that sight. Oh, that's gorgeous. Normally Jack walks like that. He does his little trot type thing, and I think that's like his natural pace. But sometimes he'll walk a little slower to let me catch up, and then he can't do that little trot. He does a much slower walk, and it makes his little tushy wiggle from side to side to side. I'm in a very, very small grouping of houses called Orla. Very small. However, there is a big factory over there that you can see on the satellite view of the Earth, and apparently they make wire and wire products. And in 1726, a man who owned what was then an iron mill started building that house, which is now a wedding venue. He was 70 plus years old, so he died and only the foundation had been laid, and his wife remarried, and by the time her second husband died, most of the house was done. By the time her third husband died, the entire house was done. Took 20 years. So it was started in 1726 and was finished in 1746. That's all I can find out about this area. Yeah, I think he's part border collie.
Some border collie or something else.
Yeah, I think my guess is husky and German shepherd.
No.
And border collie. Yeah. Border collie is probably the biggest one.
It's a cross sometime somewhere in the town.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure. It is 7:54 p.m. Welcome to Värnamo. I believe this is the last sort of anything I would consider a city before I hit Helsingborg, which will be my last city in Sweden. With this being as big of a town as it is, I think it'll have like a specialty pet store, so I can get some pet food for Jack that isn't cheap. I think they're all closed already today. It's already 8:30, so we're going to stick around here for tonight. I'm just going up to the big road up ahead where they've got some fast food restaurants. I get pretty sleepy at night. I was like, I bet they have a pet store here. Look, pet store. I didn't even Google it. I just was walking down the road and I saw pictures of cats and dogs. And then I saw that there was pet food brands I'm familiar with also listed on the website. It's like Windows. Lol. fulfilled my addiction. Look at that sunlight popping off right behind it. Not bad though. Sunset. Jack, come on. We're about to go find a place to sleep because it is cold and I'm tired. 2 very good reasons to get into a sleeping bag and just power down. I was reading reviews for this resting, what are those things called? Rest stops? Some of the reviews for the rest stop, oh, I'm having such a hard time remembering that word. Some of the reviews for the rest stop said that there's a lake nearby that you can fish and swim at. So I was like, where's this lake? And it looks like there might be like an area with picnic tables and yada yada yada. And it's Sweden, so you can probably camp there. So that's where we're headed. I think it's just down this way. And that's it. As luck would have it, there actually are camping forbidden signs. I almost never. So I'm here. I'm going to show you something that I'm tempted to sleep in tonight after I explain myself. I had someone comment on one of these videos that you're allowed to camp anywhere in Sweden that isn't expressly forbidden or is like obvious, i.e. don't camp on someone's front yard in front of their house. Obvious. So I left the area where it explicitly said camping was forbidden. Like I saw the sign coming in and the sign as if I would be coming in the other way. So I'm out of that area. And I found this. It's not a shelter. There's a little plaque over there that said, I think I recognize the word like donated or given or gift or whatever. So it looks like it's an art installation. There is a little bench on it so you can sit on it. Obviously people get up in there, obvious. But I don't know if it's like disrespectful to camp inside of it because it's art. And if that's the case, I could just camp right here in the grass. So I think this is what we're going with. It is 10:43, tired. So I'm probably gonna set up camp just like right next to this thing in the jiggy, right here on the grass. Right next to the river. Good night. A lot of rain. Unfortunately, I did not finish taking down my tent. I had just dried it off, and then it started raining. So, I have to wait for it to stop. You can't make this up. It stopped raining, it got sunny, it got warm, I took off my jacket, I finished taking down my tent. You can see where it's completely dry under the tent. And then, as I was folding it up in here, because I didn't want to have to fold it up on a place where the ground was wet, it started raining again. So I've had just enough time to do all the things. It is now 11:30. It is now 11:50, and it's still raining. 12:47, we're finally moving. And it started and stopped raining 4 times, 5 so far today, so I don't know. I feel like that bodes for not pleasant things. Is it just me, or is that a lot of rocks for a planted field? Won't that cause problems during harvest? That's a lot of rocks. Headed to the pet store. See that line down the shrimp's back? That's feces. That's both a quote and informative. I'll admit I'm pretty over the cold and the wet. Apparently today is supposed to be the last, or tomorrow is supposed to be the last chilly day, and then it'll pop back up to the upper 60s for the foreseeable future. But still rain all the time, so can't have it all apparently. 2 things. 1, all water pipes that I've ever seen in the Scandinavian Nordic countries are all on the exterior of the wall. Like they're not buried. So if they leak or whatever, you can see it. I don't know what it is. Today's just the day of impeccable timing. We left a restaurant to get back on the road, and it started raining right as we got to this tunnel. I don't know if you can see the rain coming down over there, but you see how wet the ground is. Every time it started raining today, just been able to duck out of it immediately and not get wet at all. Jack's warm, so he keeps him warm when the cold wind comes through. Oh yeah, and the second thing, those bathrooms had credit card readers on the outside. It cost almost $1. They didn't seem to be active because the door just opened it when I pulled, but I was about ready to pee on the floor. The sun's back out, but he's so comfy. How am I supposed to move? Like this. Just kidding. I'll get him up gently. Hey, buddy. Hey, Jack. You ready? You ready? You ready to go? Okay. Let's go. Every time. Proud. I'll admit, I'm pretty tempted to just write this day off as a loss. Just stop. To start and stop and start and stop raining like 10 times. I hate it so much. I guess it's better than just constantly raining, but it's the hope factor. The sun comes back out and you think you might have a good rest of your day, so it's the hope. And then the fact that it gets torn down again and again. On that note, welcome to one of the more dramatic channels on YouTube, where all it takes is a light drizzle for me to have a total meltdown. Especially after less than an hour ago, I talked about how every time there'd been rain, I'd been able to get out of it perfectly magically. What a little baby. It may not seem like it, but these moments where I just like stop and pull over on the side of the road often ended up being some of the more memorable and pleasant memories I have of these long walks. I cannot remember most of the miles I've walked because most of the time you just walk and you're listening to a book, you're just kind of zoned out and you're just walking. But I can still remember all these times where I just like sat down, turned off whatever I was listening to, and just like took in my surroundings. I can distinctly remember dozens, hundreds of them. Wyoming, Colorado, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Texas, Oklahoma, Washington, Oregon. I can remember them really well. It's one of the few times where you just sort of have the additional time to sort of take in the details of things that you would ordinarily just pass while your brain was busy processing the other information it needed to not trip and stuff. And even just observing it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes more than the usual seconds ends up giving you this feeling like you were actually there. You really saw it. Every time there's like a stitch, it's because I paused the video recording to let a car pass without the noise getting too loud. Before I got my camera out, I think maybe 10 cars total had passed in the 10 previous minutes. It's a hilarious reality. Anyway, I'll give you a quick view. Stay tuned. Enjoy this view that I've been looking at for the last 10 minutes with Jack just chilling on my lap. It's a very, very peaceful moment to have in lives where most of our moments are sort of unremarkable or busy, or a moment to like sit and reflect and just take in the view. Sounds pretty underwhelming and unextraordinary, but can be actually quite special. I really hope that wasn't like corny or sappy or dumb. It's very real. It's a very real thing I'm experiencing. Look at that beautiful home. You got a good garage, clean, right on a lake. We got a really cute dog just like chilling in the front yard on the grass. This home really has everything you'd want. "10 miles in, break time. I've been trying to do like 5-mile increments to motivate myself to like make progress, but also make sure I stop and enjoy things. Look at this black bear I found. He's really friendly. He keeps requesting food though. It's weird. There you go. Come on, wow. Man, these people up here know how to live. Look at that big grassy field right next to your rustic home leading to a lake. Sunlight hitting it like that. I don't understand that this commentary is getting a little old, but that is some pretty scenery up here. I love these parts of the world. Just the everyday, ordinary, ridiculously pretty places. I like this view into like the depth of the forest that you wouldn't normally get because it's hidden, but because of this cleared area, you can see it's like cutting into the middle of a object and seeing what's inside. Look at all the babies. Holy smokes. It is 9:22, so you know, starting that time of that day where you're just like, I sleep at night. Let's think about that. I've decided to be a little bit more bold with the allemansrätten, the everyman's right rule in Sweden, where you can camp most places. The rule states that you can camp on private property as long as you don't camp on like developed land. Basically, like even if it's owned by someone, if it's still wild, you can sleep on it. You're just really not supposed to be like, I think the rule is like 150 meters from a building. So they don't want people camping in view of someone's structure, someone's residence. Holy cow. That is so pretty. That's unbelievably pretty. My word. So we were walking, and there's a lake nearby, and the lake shore didn't look totally developed, so I was like, maybe some of these paths that I'm sure are privately owned, but you're allowed to walk on privately owned paths, lead down to lake shore, and I can camp on some of the undeveloped lake shore property. Sounds nice. So that's what I'm doing, just walking down this path. I don't know who owns it. In the US, I would never want to do this because I would fear getting shot or at least angering somebody. But from what I've gathered, it's not only okay in Sweden, it's like normal. So I'm trying it out. Have I mentioned that cows always are super curious about me and Jack? Maybe it's because we smell a little bit like them. Smelly little booger. Jack is always very concerned. He does not super love it because I think he associates the cows coming up to say hi with the 2 times he sort of investigated back and got shocked by the fence. Neither of which he liked, and both of which contribute to me not letting him off leash anymore when I can see that there are electrical fences at all. I'm not gonna risk him being shocked a 3rd time because he always bolts and he never bolts except for when he's shocked. The spot I surveilled on Google Maps that looked promising was the cows' territory. They owned that area. I didn't want to get trampled, so on to more surveillance. Maybe I can find a farmer or somebody and just be like, see that patch of grass there? Mind if I become unconscious on it for about the next 9 hours? Tiny bit of bad luck. Some of the areas I was surveilling that looked promising are here, but turns out this is all a nature reserve and this one does not allow camping. I'm thinking of camping in this little parking area. There's a little thing and another little thing and a picnic table. I just set up my tent. I don't know if I'm still on the boundaries of the nature reserve, because if I click on the nature reserve, it doesn't have like little boundaries. Anyway, these little mounds that you see that circle, there's like 100 of them. Those are actually burial mounds from the Iron Age, which I don't know the dates of the Iron Age, but I know it's not now, so it's old. I think there's a rune stone too around here from the 11th century, so maybe that's the Iron Age. Either way, there's not that many like American rest stops with Iron Age burial mounds by the hundreds right there. I gotta stop with these late night into the woods ventures. So we found this road leading into the forest. There's no signs or anything at the entrance, but once we got here by the lakeside, there's all these things that don't look like they're used that often. There's a bunch of boats, like this one's mostly full of water. Anyway, but there was a sign that says no camping once you get all the way down here, half a mile into the woods. It's picturesque, so I don't really regret coming here. I just regret them putting up that sign, because or else it would have been a great spot. So that's pretty sad. I'm more disappointed by it than I think I'm letting on. Being careful I don't fall off this skinny deck into the water. That would really not make my night. But we gotta keep moving. Find somewhere where camping is not forbidden, as the signs all say. There's even a fire ring. Why is camping forbidden when there's a fire ring? We just traveled down the worst quote-unquote road ever. It had a gate in front of it, but a lot of times those mean like no cars. So we just walked around it. But the road clearly hasn't been used in about 5 years, I would say, from the size of the trees that are growing up through the middle of it. It wasn't an improved road. There was no gravel or anything like that. It was just tamped earth. And yeah, the trees growing up through the middle of it were, I don't know, maybe 3 to 4 years. There's one log that had fallen across it probably a while ago, still there. Nobody cut it down. Anyway, and then there are these buildings. You probably can't see them, but oh, there you go. These are buildings. You're not supposed to camp near other people's buildings. They're clearly not actively used. Look how long this grass is. You can't, but I can. It's long. So we're gonna go just a little bit further down the road. We're now off that crappy road and onto a slightly less crappy road. So we'll see if that leads to anything promising. It's 11:30. Finally found a spot. I just scared Jack. Sorry, buddy. Next to the water. There was no camping sign. The reviews on Google said people camp here sometimes. It is 12:03 after midnight. Good night.